You guys might have remembered a couple of months back, I actually covered the second Iraq WCQ that they actually had. And well, we're back once again. Take a look at the next round of results. This community is relatively small, so don't take anything away from them. But I believe that this event was 22 players, and it was held by Anime Store IQ. And the duelist that sent in this information wanted to give a super big shout out to the store for allowing the players to have a chance and a place to be able to play their decks, to play this event. And I think it's really cool that Yu-Gi-Oh has spread so far out into this part of the world, and it's wonderful that we're just getting the chance to see this game become a global phenomenon. So once again, I would also like to thank Anime Store IQ for supporting this game as far as out there, you know, Iraq and other parts of the world. Like, congratulations, thank you guys for supporting this game. So I have no problem covering information from this event because it's important to see where this stuff goes. So the first deck we're going to be looking at from the top cut is actually going to be Burning Abyss. Now, this deck a lot of people are probably going to have problems with, but you have to understand it's a smaller event. Tech choices aren't going to mean as much, and I can tell you, looking at the core back build of the deck, this is kind of essentially what you're going to be considering the standardized norm. Now, this is in fact with the Kaiju package in the main deck. You have to understand, in a format where a lot of build-up boards and large decks coming out of nowhere, you need to have ways to out things. Now, I would argue, depending on... these players should have had a perception of what others are going to be playing and things like that. You know, especially something like an argument for Sphere Mode versus Kaijus. Like, Kaijus are probably going to be better. Well, obviously, Kaijus don't take up your normal sum, but there is that. So, this is Burning Abyss from the top of the event. So, we have one copy of Alich getting the ability to, well, essentially all Burning Abyss include the effect to swash someone you have no spell and trap card zones. Or, yeah, no spells and traps. The card is sent to the graveyard, get to target a monster on the field and negate its effects. Probably one of the handier Burning Abysses. One copy of Ash Blossom. So we are playing Orbital Hydrolander. You don't want to go too crazy on larger numbers of cards because of Hydro interactions, but one copy of Ash Blossom suited him very well. One copy of Barbar. Burning your opponent for damage in time is still one of the best things that Burning Abyss has going for it. Now, I'm indifferent about two Blockluster Soldiers, but this card does say banish a light and a dark, so this does allow you to control your graveyard for essential pieces to make sure that you can do as you need to do. Also helping to remove certain situations that you're going to have issues with on the field, and OTK, all wrapped up in one card. Now we have two copies of Block Dragon. Sending this off of Beatrice is actually really cute. Also generally helping towards OTK scenarios and things like that. I really like this in this deck. It does seem a little bit more controlled because having to banish specifically 3 years, but more boss monsters are not necessarily a bad thing. One copy of Calcab, spell and trap removal. One copy of Seer for additional revivability. One copy of Crane, Earth Revival. Also, yeah, just Earth Extenders go. Two copies of Brinkatops. This card is insane. The more and more I've played this card, the more and more I've kind of started to realize that this card is nuts. But generally what this card will bring to the table in this matchup, besides being an Earth, general spot removal and 2600 beats. Of course, one copy of Effect Veiler, once again, the argument for Orbital Hydrolander. Also, this card as a hand trap is insane right now. Two copies of Farfa, Blink ability is key. Triple copies of Rhino, you have to max out on one of the best cards in your deck. And of course, we have one copy of Godarla, two copies of overpriced Gallus, the Star Beast, one copy of Gamma Seal, two copies of Ghost Ogre, one copy of Graph the Extender, one copy of Kumamungus, one copy of Libic, just another extender, triple copies of our boss monster. I mean, there's not much to really say about this. This card is literally just kind of a win con in and in itself. And of course, we have one copy of Revu Dancer. So if your opponent controls a monster and you control the monster, you can switch summon this card from your hand. This card can be treated as two tributes for tribute summon, but this is a level 3 extender. As long as your opponent has monsters, you get to splash summon this card for free. So literally this plus your normal summon is really cute in this deck. I actually never thought about trying this, but I like this. Good deck choice, actually. One copy of Tracker and one copy of Wielder. Just level 3s that feed off of each other. One copy of Rubik. Making Virgil's pretty good. One copy of Skarm, one copy of the Lightning Kaiju, and one copy of Tour Guide, along with triple copies of Sekka's Light. The extra deck, we have one Underclock Taker, one Trisbania, one Unicorn, one Phoenix, one Cerberus, one Decode, one Borreload, one Akishik Magician, one Breaksword, two Dante, one copy of Darius, one Beatrice, one Virgil, and one copy of the Pilgrim. Side deck is very interesting. We have one Ash Blossom. We have a baby Chaos Dragon engine of one Collapse Serpent, triple Wyvern Buster. I actually really like this. It makes certain matchups a little bit easier in terms of just having more floatability and graveyard management. We have a third copy of Prinkatops to make going second even easier. Another copy of Effect Village for depending on the matchup that we need more removal in. Two copies of Skullmeister. Depending on what you're playing against, having another hand trap out isn't bad. And then we have triple copies of Twin Twister for Altergeist, other back row heavy decks. And we have triple copies of Red Rebuto, actually wrapping up this list. So we do have one more list for you guys here. And it is actually, Sky Striker. Now, this is pretty much where I would want to go right now with Sky Striker. I know there are a lot of arguments for Call by the Grave, but this deck is very susceptible to hand traps. And I'm indifferent about wanting to play this myself, but I generally think in the long run, especially in a smaller meta like this, like if everybody's a good player, being able to stop hand traps from resolving or something detrimental to you is going to be incredibly important. Now, also depending on the size of the meta here, I think it is very important to consider something like Mind Control as a very important resource. Being able to move any sort of spot removal issue, or if you're playing in the Sky Striker mirror, especially if they're playing the Sky Striker mirror, being able to move over your opponent's monster and then link out with it for your own is incredibly valuable. So I will say that I really, 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 really like the tech choices that they did, especially for the scoping and the size of this event. So, Sky Striker. It's triple copies of Ash Blossom. No real explanation needed. We also have triple copies of Sky Striker Ray, the heart and soul of the deck. Triple copies Called by the Grave, once again, getting that ability to control hand traps or other threatening effects. Very crucial. Troll and Lockbird hurts. We have two copies of Foolish Burial Goods, one Metal Foes Fusion. We've seen a lot of arguments for people wanting to cut this. I actually still think that this is pretty needed. Two copies of Spot Removal of the card. One copy of Rhoda Searching for Ray is great. Two copies of Area Zero, very standard. One copy of Afterburners, one Jamming Wave, one Eagle Booster, one Hornet Drones, one Shark Cannon, triple Widow Anchor, triple Multi-Roll, and triple Engage. All standardized. The only thing that we're still seeing in terms of the community right now, for argument's sake, is 2 multi-roll versus 3, but 3 still gets you the same result, I feel, some days. 2 copies Terraforming, same thing, standard. Triple copies Twin Twister, Upstart, and triple Impermanence, wrapping up the main deck. Like I said, very standard for what you're looking for, outside of the Called by the Graves in the main deck to Mind Controls for tech choices. Now, the extra deck down here, we have 1 copy of Trisbania, triple copies of Shizuku, 2 copies of Kaina, triple copies of Kagari, and 2 copies of Hayate. Without Hercules base, I mean, just be careful of your Kainas and your Hayates. There's just a lot of games where you just don't go into triple Hayate. Just to be mindful of your resource pool, and you'll be able to get there. Then we have 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Boral Sword, all general, of course. And then, of course, 1 Chimeratech Mega, or Fortress Dragon. So we're not playing the Mega Fleet in this, but if your opponent leaves a Cyber Dragon out on the field and they fail to OTK you, feel free to just slurp right on up. Now, the side deck here, I actually really like this. Even though it's very generic, it definitely wraps things up. So we have triple copies of Frankatops, standard, triple copies of Drone Lockbird, stopping annoying ass effects is what this card does. And by annoying, I mean your opponent drawing infinite cards through danger. Triple copies of Dimensional Barrier, Thunder and Pendulum are probably 2 of the best cards that this is great against. Triple copies of Evenly to adjust into going second. And then we have triple copies of Mind Crush, just to make better matchups, all the better. So once again, I want to thank the people in this community, all of you guys, for updating me with this information, getting the chance to share this information. I hope that if you guys have any questions, they'll be down in the comment section to help. Once again, guys, congratulations on your 3rd RAN event. It's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of these in the future, including 4th, 5th, 6th, the 20th. I'm just looking forward to more information from you guys. All right, guys. Once again, congratulations. I'm out. Peace.
The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out VanCole40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.